In this video, I'm going to teach you how to use a buoy the right way and let you know if you've been using it wrong. And spoiler alert, if you really love your buoy, there's a good chance you're using it wrong. Stick around and find out how you can get the most out of your pull buoy. If you're new to the channel, I'm CoachMattZ. I'm the head coach at Davis Aquatic Masters out in California, and I also make YouTube videos for people looking to learn more and elevate their swimming. Today, we're going to talk all things pull buoy. I'm going to teach you why your pull buoy is an important piece of equipment, which one you should buy, how you should and how you should not use it, and stick around to the end of the video to hear my absolute favorite way to use a pull buoy. Let's get into it. Let's start by talking about why you should use a buoy. I think buoys are a great tool. They can help you build strength, they can help you with your technique, and they can also help you when you start to get a little bit tired. I think it's a really important tool that you should have in your swim bag. However, I want you guys to make sure you don't get addicted to it because like with any piece of equipment, we have to remember it's a training aid, not a crutch. So which buoy should you use? Well, really any buoy works. They're pretty much all the same. Some are bigger than others. I recommend going out and getting just a medium-sized buoy. This is the one I personally use. It's nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. Now, if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to give you a recommendation for a different style of buoy that can really help you with your core strength and your technique while you're pulling. So let's talk about how you can use your buoy. And when I think about it, I can think of about 3 different ways that I have typically used the buoy. And the first one is when I get creative and I use it for some skill work. So I've seen people use buoys to work on flip turns. I've personally used the buoy to work on breaststroke kick, and I've also used the buoy to work on butterfly body rolls. So the second way I've seen people use a buoy is to help them when they get tired. So when we get tired, our legs tend to start feeling a little heavy. We start swimming uphill. What you can do there is you can grab your buoy and just swim regular freestyle with your buoy, still kicking. That'll help raise your hips up and will make the swimming much easier. Now, I want to caution you here. I tend to avoid this because I feel like it makes it too easy to fall into bad swimming habits. So if you do choose to use a buoy in this way, make sure you're very focused on good technique, especially your head position. The third and most common way people are going to be using their buoy is for pulling. And what we're doing when we're pulling is we're focusing on our arms. So we put the buoy in between our legs. We're not going to kick at all. Most of the time people are going to be wearing paddles. You don't have to wear paddles though. And we're just focusing on those arm strokes. Pulling can be great for building up arm strength and also for working on your technique, but do be careful that you don't fall into bad technique habits. And one way you can sort of avoid that is to use your snorkel while you're doing your pulling sets. Let's talk about how you should not use your buoy. And I've got bad news for you. As I said before, if you really love using your buoy and you use it every day, there's a good chance you're using it wrong. And that's because it's probably masking some bad technique habits that you have in your freestyle. The biggest issue I see in freestyle is head position. People tend to swim with their head too high. When your head goes up too high, your hips are going to sink. That's just the natural reaction. Now, if you put a buoy on, the buoy will help lift your hips up, so it's easier to swim, but you're still in that bad body position. And what's going to happen in that body position is your back is going to arch, which is going to cause some back issues, and also your head is still up high, so you're at a greater risk for shoulder injuries. And if you swim that way all the time with a buoy in, when you finally do take that buoy out, your hips are going to sink like a stone. If you feel yourself getting addicted to the buoy or feeling like you need to use it all the time, there's a good chance there's an issue with your stroke technique. So focus on that head position, grab your snorkel, swim with your snorkel a little bit, and talk to your coach. See if they can help you get to the root of the problem. All right, so we've come to the point of the video where we're going to talk about my favorite way to use a buoy during my pulling sets. And now this is my favorite way as a coach, not necessarily as a swimmer because it is a lot harder, but it's going to get you a lot more bang for your buck on your pulling sets. And what I'm talking about here is pulling with the buoy at your ankles. When you pull with the buoy at your ankles, it's going to force you to squeeze your core tight so your feet don't sway back and forth. Now, if you feel your feet swaying, it's an indication that you're a little too loose in the midsection, so you need to tighten the core, tighten the glutes to keep those feet in line. So pulling with the buoy at your ankles gives you a lot of bang for your buck because you can do the pulling set like you normally would, but it's also going to force you to work on your body position and your core stability. Now, I find when I'm pulling with a buoy at my ankles, I have a hard time holding it in place, especially when I'm doing flip turns. And that's where this new style of buoy that I was talking about can really help you. So here it is. This is the buoy that I was talking about earlier. The way it works is you put your feet through those holes and you hold the buoy at your ankles, and you're able to pull with the buoy at your ankles without dropping it every time you do a flip turn. So this is a finesse buoy, and I definitely think it's worth a purchase. I think it's great to mix this in with your pulling sets because it's really going to help you with your core strength and your body position. All right, guys, listen, I see buoys get misused way too much, and I want you guys to be able to use your buoy the right way because it can be a really good tool. So just make sure when you're using it, you're focusing on your technique, especially your head position. If things feel off, grab your snorkel or ask your coach to check in on you and make sure your technique is okay. Also, when I'm doing my pulling sets, I like to take the buoy out periodically. This gives me a chance to feel what it's like to swim with legs again, and also allows me to check in on my technique and make sure my hips aren't sinking. All right, guys, there you have it. That's my guide to using your buoy the right and wrong way. I'm CoachMattZ. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you like the content, click that subscribe button. Your support means a lot to me. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I'll see you next time.